What up, though? Fizz.org. Your wig could be poisoning you. Study finds pesticides and other toxic chemicals in synthetic hair in Nigeria. It's 2024 by Inwani Dyke Ejiri. Well-groomed hair is a symbol of beauty for many black African women. Natural hair requires special care and attention, though which can be time-consuming. So what is your hair? Wigs, human or synthetic hair, weave-ons, and other artificial hair extensions offer women an alternative to their natural hair. And when it says natural hair requires special care and attention, though, which can be time-consuming, no other group of people have a problem with taking or giving special care and attention to their own hair. I think it requires much more time to maintain a synthetic or human wig or weaves in terms of the financial aspect of it, as well as the damage that it might do to your actual natural hair. And I think this is an issue when it comes to using the excuse that natural hair requires too much attention and special care, and you just don't have time. Because the one that suffers is the child, more specifically, your child's hair. Wigs, human or synthetic hair, weave-ons, and other artificial hair extensions offer women an alternative to their natural hair. In Nigeria, these alternatives are very popular with women, both young and old. The synthetic hair value chain is a big business worth millions of dollars and run by both local and foreign industries. Let me make a correction. The financial aspect of buying a wig or synthetic hair for weave-ons and such, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant how much paper those things cost. What's more important is the idea that you have time for everything else except maintaining and giving the proper attention to your own hair, which has a purpose. There are contaminants hiding in synthetic hair. Man-made fibers go through various chemical processes to make them look and feel more like human hair. Hair products are mainly made from plastics, which are not biodegradable. All of them had different levels of contaminants, such as silver, cadmium, chromium, nickel, vanadium, and lead, including several pesticides which are hazardous to human health. Synthetic hair is usually worn close to the scalp. We bought 10 popular synthetic hair brands of various colors. The samples were analyzed in a laboratory. We used the U.S. standard methods for the examination of water and wastewater to determine the presence of heavy metals such as cadmium, zinc, lead, chromium, manganese, iron, mercury, copper, and nickel in synthetic hair. We found heavy metals in significant amounts. One of them, lead, is used in stabilizing the polyvinyl chloride that the synthetic hair is made of. Lead compounds such as basic lead carbonate, lead stearate, and lead phthalate prevent heat, light, or wear and tear from breaking down the PVC and make it easier to form into shapes. It says the lead compounds prevent heat, light, or wear and tear from breaking down the PVC. Lead is dangerous to humans, however. It affects the membranes, DNA, and antioxidant defense systems of cells. Lead also interferes with the normal development of a child's brain and nervous system. Take that into consideration when you are putting those micro braids with synthetic hair in your child's head or your own head. The metals that are used to stabilize the polymer are not bound to it. They can leach out over time or when exposed to light. So, when women wear synthetic hair, whether as attachments, weave-ons or wigs on their heads or as fake eyelashes, they risk exposure to lead and other heavy metals. This is the case for all synthetic hair brands made from plastics. In humans, exposure to heavy metals is associated with various biological risks, such as damage to the kidneys, livers, lungs, reproductive system, and nervous system. It has also been associated with cancer, skin irritations, asthma, and cardiovascular diseases. We found also that the synthetic hair samples were contaminated with 11 chemical compounds, which are pesticides. The levels of these chemicals found in the hair exceeded permissible limits. Exposure to the toxic chemicals that we found in synthetic hair can have serious health consequences. Apart from the damage to vital organs, they can cause infertility, birth defects, asthma, bronchitis, and cancers. They also lead to attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, endocrine system disruption, and respiratory diseases, among others. This is from Time, A Brief History of the Wig. The word wig is derived from the word periwig, which is what the English thought they heard when the French introduced them to their word, perruque, or peruque. Peruque. In the 17th and 18th centuries, periwig refers specifically to a wig worn by men, composed of white curled human or animal hair of variable length and style. In ancient Egypt, especially in the life of the royals in their court, it was common for both men and women of the higher classes to shave their heads and then wear full wigs made of human hair or date palm fibers. So it was common for them, men and women of the higher classes, to shave their heads and then wear full wigs made of human hair. I'm not making a joke. I'm not trying to joke. This is what they did. They thought this made sense. Or whomever's writing the article said that this is what they did. And if it is truly what they did, What makes them higher classes? Wig wearing extended to the high societies of ancient Greece and Rome. So important were these wigs to social life that some noble Roman women kept blonde household slaves in order to assure an ample supply of flaxen hair for their own hairpieces. Wig used wand during the Middle Ages and didn't return until 1624 when Louis the 13th covered his prematurely balding scalp with a long, dark, wavy locked hairpiece. By the end of Louis the 13th's reign in 1643, wigs were accepted as required dress for nobles all over Europe, and in order to supply those wigs, the first wig guild was founded in France in 1664. So people acting as automatons has been going on for a long time, doing what others do, not thinking for yourself, going with what is popular. The powder used to dust them meant to add a pale patina and made of flour and starch, fed a whole host of bacteria residing on the sweaty scalp. In modern times, wigs remain a booming business. Workers in the field estimate that the total world market approaches $5 billion. Most natural hair in the current market comes from South America and Asia. In Peru, hair merchants drive to villages, set up a table in the central plaza, and buy hair from the women who line up, the vast majority of whom are very poor and rely upon these visits as a source of income. In India, women donate their hair as a votive offering to Venkateswara, an incarnation of Vishnu, who has the power to absolve sins. It is estimated that a quarter of the 50,000 pilgrims who visit temples daily in the Andhra Pradesh region of India donate their hair in order to have their sins absolved. And they donate the sinful energy that they've had through their wigs, and you buy it and slap it on your dome piece. The temples then sell the hair more than 1 ton per day to merchants. Sheesh. I mean, do they procreate just for the hair? Engineers are currently developing more realistic synthetic fibers. Engineers. So you go to school for an engineering degree, and this is what you do. It seems lucrative, but it lacks substance. Engineers are currently developing more realistic synthetic fibers. One new fiber is actually a fiber within a fiber. The internal laying imparts to it greater tensile strength. Another fiber has a roughened surface that acts like a cuticle in that reflected light gives a more natural reflection. Still, another fiber is able to intake water, giving it some of the curling properties of natural hair. And while it is intaking water, your natural hair and scalp is not. Such engineering advances suggest that synthetic fibers will increasingly become part of the future cosmetic wig. Wig production has evolved far beyond its ancient origins. Let's move on. This is from the Albert Einstein College of Medicine and CUNY Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy, New York, New York. Crystal G. Thomas. Carcinogenic materials in synthetic braids, an unrecognized risk of hair products for Black women. Black women across the United States are commonly exposed to carcinogens due to inadequate regulation of substances involved in hair braiding. Hair extensions used for braiding consist of either human hair or synthetic fibers. Synthetic extensions tend to be used more frequently due to affordability. Extensions are typically worn for at least 4 to 6 weeks with continuous exposure to carcinogenic ingredients for those who subsequently reinstall their braids throughout the year. By 2028, the global hair wig and extension market is expected to surpass $19.12 billion, that is. Black women in the United States, along with women in continental Africa, are the largest consumer group of this industry. The largest consumer group is slapping on the hair of smaller groups. As many preteens and teenagers in the Black community frequently wear synthetic braids as well. The current lack of governmental regulation has resulted in the exposure of Black women to toxins in these readily accessible and popular synthetic extensions. For instance, the affordable modacrylic fiber caniculin is utilized by many well-known synthetic. Let's go over that again. The current lack of governmental regulation. And this isn't the government's fault, nor is it the engineers who are coming up with fibers within fibers. This is your fault. Whatever comes with the synthetics in human hair, it's your fault. It's no one else's fault. Is utilized by many well-known synthetic braiding extension brands and is commonly recommended by professional braiders due to its resemblance to afro-textured hair. Modacrylic fiber is composed of acrylonitrile and vinyl chloride, both of which are toxic to humans. The Environmental Protection Agency classifies acrylonitrile as a probable human carcinogen meaning poison. The National Cancer Institute directly links vinyl chloride and leukemia. The National Cancer Institute directly links vinyl chloride with leukemia, lymphoma, and rare forms of liver, brain, and lung cancers. Cancer, meaning an abundance of chemicals running through your body. Synthetic extensions contain flame retardant fibers. In January 2022, New York State joined 4 other states, Delaware, Georgia, Iowa, and West Virginia, in banning flame retardants due to their adverse health effects, including cancer and reproductive organ toxicity. Exposure to harmful ingredients in synthetic braids is likely creating an under-recognized and unaddressed public health issue for Black communities. Hair care involving synthetic braids is integral to Black culture. First of all, there's no such thing as a black human. You've never seen one, nor have you seen a white human ever in life. It goes on to say hair care involving synthetic braids is integral to black culture. They're still selling it to you. They're telling you some things about it, some specifics about it, but they're still marketing it to you by calling it hair care. How can this be hair care? Especially as black women pursue alternatives to products used to conform to harmful Eurocentric beauty standards. How could you call putting Eurocentric hair on your head an alternative to conforming to harmful Eurocentric beauty standards? Europeans never made you wear their hair. If you think for a minute, everyone tries to be like you in all aspects. Even with cornrows, even with certain styles, you are copied. But there is one style that cannot be copied. Oh, some try to copy it on Halloween. They'll buy a wig and it's a Halloween costume of this particular style. The style I'm speaking of is a natural. You might term it an afro, but I've always known it as a natural. This is the Black America's Handbook for Survival Through the 21st Century by Radine A. America. The ancestral grandmothers, as a result of constant sexual and physical trauma and abuse, emotional neglect, exploitation, violations to their human dignity by the collective patriarchal society of Amerindian, Negro, Black American men, processes to maintain control for exploitation over the female's physical ability to stop the use of them as women or chattel slaves and concubines. Anasazi or American or Amerindian females are now forced by Amerindian men, by Indigenous American men, who you term black, to work jobs in European homes instead of their own home, nurturing their children. The influence females have with their own children, family, culture, and society diminishes. There is no place safe for the essence of nature as the females of Earth to America to be cherished or have free expression. Females lived their lives being used as women for the pleasure of men, became disenfranchised and demoralized as they internalized their anger towards the condition of life that God of man has given them. Every new generation of Amerindian females as mothers became disenfranchised with having to live their lives without joy, support, or protection of their lives. In anger, changed their focus from nurturing the emotional development for the cognitive awareness of earth connection within the blood to the future generations. The unknowing new generations willingly abandon their purpose to the support of life as a result of the abuse and struggle to survive with life, and turned to the illusion of the King of Death, Jesus, to spare them the wrath from life for the abandonment and irresponsibility towards serving their purpose to life. Instead, they prayed to Jesus to pardon, excuse them from their weak actions, and allow them to live in death after they release their life body. Another artificial identity, only as African Americans, with a new meaning, a dead race of people who are not recognized for or uphold their connection planetary covenant to their home section soil with their planet Earth, a people who no longer honor their life purpose. They live with no sense of purpose, ethnic identity, and belonging with the planet. The assimilated people of America live as domestic dependents to the United States or any group of people who accept them. This is why America is called the land of freedom. All people who immigrate here can live without responsibility for life of America and indulge themselves in the death of America. Look, start over. Remove all the chemicals and start over. There will be no question who the people, who the original people of this land are if you start over. Remember this? Look, anyone who comes here, any foreigner who comes here, they know, but it will be unquestionable. Eartha Kitt says, beauty is not something to be dressed up. The gods have done that. So keep it simple and let it shine all on its own. Look, start over. Take the time. Put in the care, especially with your children. Especially take the time for yourself. This is you. I know where I'm from. Do you? There's no such thing as black land. Stop calling yourself a foreigner. You're doing a disservice to your ancestors, to these people, to these women, to these American women, the most beautiful group of women on the earth, whose hair is unlike anyone else's. Give somebody a chance to copy you. People copy others when the group of people that they're copying stands firm in who they are. Look. Stop calling your people slaves. This says Edmonia Lewis, who previously went by her Chippewa name of Wildfire, was a prominent artist of the 19th century, the 1800s. It's probably one of y'all ancestors. Take the time to look her up. Edmonia Lewis, who previously went by her Chippewa name of Wildfire, was a prominent artist of the 19th century. This woman is Chippewa. Or what I've been saying to you, American and Indigenous American. Nah, we don't play the Native Americans game around here. Native just means you born somewhere. The American woman. No other woman on the planet is like her. Don't erase her. Don't do it. Some of y'all trying to erase her. Don't do it. Who would entrust their child with someone who didn't think that they could do the same job or a better job with them? Do that woman look like a beaten, downtrodden, shackles on the neck and wrist and ankle slave to you? She working. Let's shake it. Look. It's only moisture. Hair needs moisture, not chemicals. not to be covered. This says, African American woman, Wisconsin, 1875. There's no one on the planet with as much style. No one. Own your natural. Don't let them fool you. Stop letting this propaganda fool you into thinking that conflict with people who look like you is normal. It's not. Start over. Put time and care into your children's hair. Light as a feather. There's no one that looks like this. No one around the world. Know how I know? I don't even think we look like this anymore. Let's start over. Do the right thing.